audience members. Please come. You can go ahead and sit down now. Camera woman, wait. Perfect. So I was in a car crash about 2 years ago. It was actually the day I was moving from one apartment to another. I was literally just moving one city away. While I was moving, there was a dog on Bangor Highway. A car stopped for it. I stopped for that car. The black Suburban behind me did not stop. We crashed. During that crash, it made my Volkswagen Jetta do a 180 and get pushed off the road. During that time, there was a lot of emotions going on. The two emotions that I really want to focus on or point out are sympathy and empathy. There was sympathy for the dog wanting not to die. And it was a good thing that that car was paying attention. If not, that dog would have been doomed. And there was empathy for me as a fellow human being. That these strangers that did not know me, just bystanders, stopped to make sure I was okay. That they were sharing in my emotion of fear and stress and not knowing what was going to happen. And just wanting to make sure that their fellow human being wasn't mortally injured. Today I'll be speaking about the differences between sympathy and empathy and how we can use them in our daily lives. What is sympathy? Oxford Dictionary of English states it's the feeling of pity and sorrow of someone else's misfortune. Sympathy is a feeling of caring and concern for someone and wish to see them better. It is wishful thinking. Yes, you can acknowledge that someone is suffering, but you cannot share with their emotion. An example of sympathy is for a butterfly with a broken wing. You cannot empathize with it because it is an instinct and you don't know how they feel. What is empathy? Oxford Dictionary of English states, empathy is the ability to understand and share the feeling of another. The feelings of another. What does empathy entail? It is trying to understand what someone is going through, even though you have not gone through it, and being able to share in that emotion. An example of empathy that we use in everyday life. A personal example for me is what I do for work. I work for Discover Financial Services. I work in a sales/customer service role. I could have just sympathy and know that someone's going through a hard time, have pity for them because they weren't able to handle their own finances and now need to take out a loan to try to get it all straightened out. That could work. Or we could have empathy. Within empathy, we can acknowledge what that person is feeling and their stress and suffering and being in a situation that they can no longer control, and try to share in those emotions to try to do everything in my power to be able to help them out of that situation, to be able to get out of it and be able to move forward with their life and be that much less stressed. If I'm able to do that and actually engage with my potential applicants, it'll be that much more of a better connection and customer experience. And it'll be a better customer experience on both ends. Empathy goes deeper than that. Empathy is one step behind compassion. Empathy is being able to share in their emotion, and compassion is being able to do something about it, make an action. An example of this is a company called Charity Water. This is a company that helps third world countries in Africa be able to have clean water. I've brought a video that I want to share with you just to show you what these countries are going through. Please stand by and I'll start that video for us.
Let's see the most shocking things. There are 475 people living here. This is what they're drinking. You can see there's bugs crawling around in it.
I'm sort of putting this together saying, look, thousands of people are turning up sick, and the most basic need for health isn't even met. It wasn't okay. Kids shouldn't be drinking from scummy swamps or ponds or rivers.
What did you feel when you saw that video? And you were able to see the water those children were drinking? Were you able to feel in their suffering? Were you able to have that connection of deep sadness of the parents not being able to provide anything better for their children? Were you able to feel all these feelings without even knowing them? Were you able to feel these feelings knowing it doesn't impact your daily life? If you're able to, you were just able to engage in empathy. I want to share a story of a girl named Rachel. She was almost 9 years old when she heard of Charity Water. She wanted to do something when she heard what was going on. So what she did is she gave up her 9th birthday. She didn't want a party. She didn't want any gifts. She just wanted to help these people. Her mother was okay with that. So they started a fundraiser, and the goal was to reach $300, but they were only able to reach $220. Rachel wasn't happy about that, but her mother let her know that it was okay. I would like to show you the rest of that story. Please stand by again, and please enjoy the rest of this video.
Don't need any more stuff. That's exactly what Rachel Beckwith said. She heard me speak a few months before her 9th birthday and told her mom that instead of presents or a party, she wanted to raise $300 to help kids get clean water to drink instead. She was disappointed when she didn't reach her goal, but she raised $220 and her mom assured her it was good enough. She could try again next year. She never got that chance. A few weeks later, Rachel lost her life in a car accident.
Well, just at 9 years old, Rachel Beckwith already had a legacy. Hers was Charity Water.
NBC's Lee Cowan explains how even now, Rachel Beckwith continues to make a difference.
Hundreds of strangers started to give $9 in her honor. Then it became thousands. Within weeks, Rachel's fundraising campaign had raised over $1.2 million for clean water. The heart of this 9-year-old girl inspired 32,000 people to give. But it didn't stop there.
As we can see, by the kindness and practice of empathy of this little girl, Rachel, even after her passing, was able to cause this domino effect and be able to raise over $1.2 million in help so these children, and of course everyone in the village, to be able to have safe drinking water. Before this company, they were drinking water that had diseases that are no longer heard of in the United States, or rarely are, including cholera, and leeches, and diarrhea. Of course, we still have diarrhea, but not at their level of it being a dire thing that could cause their children to die. And because of the empathy of Rachel, they were able to be that much closer to being able to help these people through the practice of empathy and going into compassion. To summarize, we can see that sympathy is the first step to helping each other, but we need to reach the level of empathy. That is triggered through a shared emotion and can cause compassion, which leads to action to help our fellow man. If we can do this every day, we can make everyone on this earth, make this life that much better. Thank you. Now I'll leave the time to ask questions.
So, how did you feel while you were in your car accident?
How did I feel when I was in my car accident?
Yeah.
I didn't expect that it was going to happen. I was with a friend because he was going to come help me move. And he was like, hey, bro, can you stop and get a Monster for me? So we were taking an exit so he could have the energy to help me. And we saw the dog in the middle of the road, and we saw him guy just abruptly stop, which is okay. We both freaked out and we stopped. And I looked in the rear view mirror, and there was this old man on his phone.
Wow.
And the last thing I saw was the impact of it just coming and taking us out. And then I just felt the feeling of the car just going in circles. And I couldn't breathe for like 20, 30 seconds. It was like shock that I was just like, and I couldn't breathe. My friend was shaking me so I could breathe, until my body finally let me go and I could breathe and we got out of the car.
Wow.
Question?
Yes. Was it scary when your car did a 180?
Yeah. It was shock because there wasn't time to be scared. You just saw this thing in your rear mirror just coming. And you know that feeling that you want it to stop, but it doesn't. And then it was just impact. And then it was just, everything was moving so fast. And like I said, you just couldn't breathe and you just kind of stood there. And I could still see, I still had my vision, so I could see my friend trying to make me talk and shake me, but I couldn't react. It was like a delay, like an actual delay in my system until I could finally take that breath and my body let me breathe, relax, and be okay.
What type of feelings do you got while watching those videos about those kids and the family suffering without clean water?
I was only able to show a few clips because it's more about public speaking and not just putting a video for you guys. But it brought me deep sadness and it broke me down when I watched the full video. Being able to see these children drink that water that gave them disease. And there was a story of a dad that his little girl, like 5, 6 years old, was drinking that water and got immediate diarrhea and died within 3 hours. That broke me down. Yes?
All the diseases that the swamp water had besides diarrhea, do you know any of the other diseases?
One was cholera. Any other questions?
No, we're good.
All right, thank you for your time.